Hey guys, welcome in. Oh man, I decided to do this one live too. It's always interesting to me. Like I'll have a thought in my head, and then for some reason some things feel like they should be done live versus on video. So I know it's the middle of the day and a lot of people are at work, but I wanted to come in. So even if you just catch this, if you catch it live, great, welcome in. If you catch it on the replay, that's dope too. This is our 31 Days of Prevention series. Today is day 8, I think. 7 or 8. I don't know. I have to look at the calendar actually. But we're here. 31 Days of Prevention. And it's our time to get together to share information, share inspiration and motivation in order to increase awareness and prevent future and ongoing domestic violence. For those of you, if you're on this page with me live, then you probably already know me. My name is MARCI Batiste. What you may not know is that I'm the executive director and founder of 9 Seconds. And we are a progressive nonprofit organization with a heart-centered mission and a commitment to preventing domestic violence. We have a very non-traditional approach. A lot of times people go for the putting out the flames and addressing the immediate need, and we're actually after the fire itself, preventing it from happening in the first place. So today's subject matter, for those of you who know me, you know that I'm an author. But what you may not know is that I've been a writer since I was, probably 6 years old. When I started writing, it was in response to the fact that my mother was being abused, and I was watching and listening and observing and learning all these lessons, and I was taking in all this information and sitting with all this pain, and I didn't really know what to do with it. And somehow I realized that no matter how many times I tried to talk about what was wrong with me or how I was feeling, I always felt shut down. I felt cut off. I felt cast aside. Those things may not have been true, but that was my feelings as a 6-year-old at the time. And so about that time, I started to write letters to my mother. And in those letters, I would talk to her about how I felt about what was going on in our house, about the abuse that she was continuing to be subjected to. Obviously, I didn't use those kinds of words. I used 6-year-old words. Somewhere in one of these boxes from my many moves, I actually have a couple of those letters that she had set aside and saved. But that was the beginning of me being a writer. Fast forward a number of years, and now I've written books and authored books and have a best-selling book, and I have 10 books under my belt, working on number 11 right now. I say all that to say that writing has always been my safe place. I think when you go through pain and you have significant disappointments, that it's important to find those things that ground you, find things that comfort you and help you to cope. And so that's the message for this live stream or this video today. It's really about how you choose to process what's happening in your life. So it might not be domestic violence. It might be just regular relationship issues. It might be family stuff. It might be, job disappointments. It could be any variety of things. It could just be how you feel about you, how you feel about what's happening in your life and what your own experiences are. For me, that writing translated later on into journaling. And anytime anything has ever bothered me, I will pick up a pen, grab one of my journals, and kind of lock myself away, and I dump onto the page. And I always do paper journals, like actual pen and paper. There's a certain something happens when your pen is actually writing on the paper. And I've done this for years and years and years. Like I said, it started with those letters when I was 6. And by the time I was a teenager, it moved into journaling. And at that time, they used to sell these little pink journals. They were about this big and about that wide, and they had a lock on them. And I always felt so safe whenever I would write in my little pink journals because it had the lock. And I haven't seen one of those little journals in years. I don't even know if they still make them, but that made me feel extra safe. So I could put my thoughts there. I could put my emotions there. I could put my deepest, darkest secrets there. I could put all of my feelings in there, and I could lock the lock and hide my key, and I was safe. And so journaling just became a thing. And that's what I retreat to whenever I'm stressed, whenever I'm hurt, whenever I'm disappointed, whenever I'm going through things, whenever things are great. I also like to journal. So it's not only just processing disappointment, it's also taking an opportunity to document the amazing experiences, the joy that you find in little things, right? So one time in the middle of my divorce, my now ex-husband found a bunch of my journals. At that time, it was the middle of my divorce. I was writing feverishly pages and pages and pages every single night about my experience, how I was feeling, what I felt, how I felt about the whole process. And he found the journals one day. I was actually at another friend's wedding, and he found my journals and he read them. And I can't even begin to describe to you the level of betrayal that I felt. For one thing, he had to specifically go looking for them. We weren't even living at the same address anymore. He had, moved out of the house and everything. So he had actually come into my home, went through my things, and then read my most personal and intimate thoughts. I was devastated. I was angry. And as a result, I burned all of those journals. I burned all of the journals that I had. And there was at that time probably, I think from that last year or year and a half, I think there was probably about 16 or 20 of them. I set every single one of them on fire. After the fact, I wished that I had not done that. Because I know now the value in being able to go back and seeing those spaces that you were in, even if they were very dark places. Once you come out of the valley and reach a peak again, sometimes it's helpful to go back and pat yourself on the back for what you've been through. I couldn't do that because I had burned those journals. But the other thing that it did was it steered me away from journaling for years. Because I never wanted to be betrayed like that again. So then I tried online journaling. They have these apps that you can download or whatever, and I've done that before. Had a couple of those crash, so all the information was listed, and it just, no matter what, it still just didn't have the same effect. It didn't make me feel the same. So I just want to show you guys some things. When I say that I journal all the time, I legit want you to see, and I have journals for different things. So like this journal right here, Make It Happen, or Make Things Happen. This is one that I use for work stuff, motivation stuff. This one, the words of my mouth, and this meditation of my heart, be pleasing in your sight, Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Very emotional stuff. And this one it's just got a bunch of positive quotes, and one of my favorite things, I don't know, this is all backwards to you guys, but it says believe on there. And I have believe in different places around my house, but it says work hard, stay positive, take risks, dream big, love hard, find yourself, believe in happiness, take a chance, make a wish, be happy, laugh often, and most of all, believe. And, you just there's something about opening up the journals and they're blank pages, and then all of a sudden when you're done, they look like this, right? So there's this one. There's this one that went with my tarot cards in 2020 because, you know, 2020 was absolutely crazy. This one was one of my favorites. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Jennifer. This is one of my favorites. It says, be bold, take risk, live life freely, lead by example, trust your gut, say what you feel, mean what you say, express gratitude, believe in your power, exceed your expectations, dance the night away, skip down the street, don't take no for an answer, be your best self, and don't look back. When I saw this, you guys, in the bookstore, I got so excited. And this book, when I tell you guys, I use these things, like, people don't believe there's so much stuff written in here, so many secrets that are written in here, and things that I just, man. So that's that one. This one, stay focused, darling. This is for my diet. It's highly disappointing, but then I also have like interesting little quotes and things that motivate me. It's supposed to motivate me to stick to my diet, but it doesn't work. And then I just write down different thoughts, how I'm feeling about, you know, like I said, like struggling with my weight's always been a thing. And then this is my most recent one. I've shared it on different pages or different posts and stuff. It says Black Hope, Black Pride, Black Beauty, Black Excellence, and Black Girls Rock. So this is just to give you guys an example of what I'm saying. Find whatever grounds you. When you're trying to heal, or you're trying to cope with something, or you're trying to process thoughts, or you're trying to process feelings, sometimes you just need to find whatever that thing is. For me, it's journaling. That might not be the thing for everyone, but if you've never journaled, I encourage you, go to a bookstore. You can go to, like, Ross usually has, interestingly enough, has great journals a lot of times. Office Max, this one came from Office Max. You just never know, and I find them in crazy little places. I found them completely unused at the Goodwill before for like 25 cents. So this is just a few of them. But this little pink one right here says, but blessed is she who believes. I told you I like the word believe, right? But this little pink one I take with me when I travel, because it's small and it's compact. And usually when I'm traveling, I'm not documenting negative stuff. It's just usually things that are going on. But sometimes, you know, get around certain people and you can start feeling some type of way. And so you might want to. But I want to read you guys something to just give you an idea of how I use my journal, right? So this is from December of 2019. So it was pre-pandemic, right? And I was on a trip back home. And so it says, back home in Iowa, as I get older, I think I appreciate these trips back home more and more. I still don't desire to live here, but I definitely do look forward to these love weekends when I could be reunited with friends and, most of all, my brother and my sisters. It's a sense of belonging that I've never had before I had the three of them. It's hard to explain, but they've given me a sense of identity that I was starving for. Finally, I belong with someone. I have a connection beyond superficial things. Also, coming home and having real friends that have been riding with me for years, where there's no pretending, just love. Today, blank picked me up from the airport because everyone else was at work. I didn't have to remind them or anything. They were there on time and took me to get lunch and dropped me off at my brother's before they had their first client. That friendship has been one that has come so natural and has transcended multiple relationships, situationships, drama, stress, and trauma. All of my moves, etc. But they make sure we stay connected. And I normally would not have asked for them to pick me up, but they offered and actually followed through. Then even came back to hang out with all of us for dinner. Friends like that last for 20 plus years don't happen every day. Home reminds me that some things can't be replaced or recreated. They have to be organic, natural, neutral, can't even read my own writing, neutral, mutual, that's what it says, mutual love and respect. My brother found an old picture of himself as a kid, and we put it side by side with one of mine as a kid. The resemblance, like it was with my sister, is totally uncanny. There's definitely no questions. We are the same. That is that belonging that I craved. Okay, well, it's after midnight. Only had an hour of sleep last night. Had a rough flight, and I'm out. Good night. Like I said, this is my travel journal. This was on a trip back home. But just taking those moments, you guys, to reset yourself and to ground yourself. You know, when my journal was taken from me, there was, along with it, sort of a sense of protection, a sense of self that I feel like was stolen from me in that process, that discouraged me from writing in journals, like I said, for years and years and years. And I didn't start again until 2012 when I went through the domestic assault. Again, writing for me, journaling for me is grounding. It is comfort. It's a place where you open up the page and it's completely empty, but my head is completely full. My heart sometimes is completely full. Trying to connect, reconnect, disconnect the two can be very difficult. And so I use the journals, I use my writing as a way to kind of brain dump, heart dump sometimes onto the page, so that then when I go back and I can reread it, like I haven't, that was from 2019, so what, 2 years ago? I hadn't read that passage since I wrote it, but it gave me a sense of emotion when I read it, because I was able, this is what journaling does. It lets you safely go back to those places, and you can touch on some of those emotions. Sometimes it will spark some emotions. And sometimes, like for the journals during my divorce, I would have never probably ever went back and reread those. Sometimes you just need to get it out, and journaling is a place for you to be able to do that. It allows you to take it out of your head, empty out your heart, put it on the paper, close the book, and be done with it sometimes. And for me, when I first started journaling, not only was it a safe place to express my feelings, and one place that nobody could argue with me, nobody could tell me that my feelings were wrong, or my thoughts were wrong, or my observations were wrong. It was undebatable, indisputable. These are my human experiences, right? And it allowed me to finally rest. And when I tell you guys, I would write until I fell asleep with the pen in my hand. Everything, every night, every day, sometimes multiple times a day. That's what I would do it. Yes, Lisa, having a safe place without judgment. And that's exactly what, for me, my journals are. So, you know, all of this month, we're talking about 31 days of prevention, but we're also talking about recovery. We're talking about, being successful, having a healthy, happy, whole, successful life. And so if you haven't ever tried journaling, I encourage you, just try it. I also have this thing where I go and I have a pen thing. So because I like to journal, and I've got carpal tunnel from banking, and so I like the way certain pens feel in my hand. I like how it feels gliding across the paper. And so I spend probably more money than I should on pens. I think these are, I don't know, like $8 or $9. No, these are about $20 for 4 of them. So about $5 a piece. I have some others that are, just regular cheapos. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what that thing is for you that you find that provides grounding for you and allows you to reset and gives you some sense of comfort. Find whatever that thing is. And the other thing about the journals is nobody has to know what's in there. And you never even have to go back there and look unless you want to. You know, I think I've showed you guys, I don't know what is this, 6 or 8 of them. These are current ones, and these are ones that, well, a couple of them are full now, but some of them are, like about 3 or 4 of them are all still working journals. And so there's different dates and different times. There's no rhyme, there's no reason. Like, it doesn't have to make sense to anybody but you. Some people it's walking, some people it's singing, some people it's listening to music, some people it's going to get a massage. I don't care what your thing is, but invest some time to discover a thing that helps you reset and helps you come to terms with things that are stressful for you or things that are disappointing to you. You know, I'm not a big one on holding on to anger. I'm very big on finding an outlet for anger, especially because if you hold that inside, it clings to you and it eats away at you, and it harms nobody but you. And so, particularly if you're dealing with anger or resentment, you have to find a way to get those emotions out. And you know, it might be sitting in your car and screaming. There's so many different methods, and I've tried a lot of different things over the years, but definitely journaling allows you to dump all of that out. Get it out. Give it to something. Give it to someone. So it's almost like a silent therapy. So if you haven't tried journaling, guys, I encourage you to try that. But if that's not your thing, if it's uncomfortable for you, you know, find something else, but make some investments in yourself and in finding some things that are going to help you to be able to reset and regain your footing. You have to stay grounded, especially if you're in a chaotic or traumatic situation. Certainly domestic violence would definitely qualify under both categories. So with that, guys, I am out of here. I hope y'all have an amazing, amazing weekend. Today is Friday. We'll be back tomorrow with another video in our 31 Days of Prevention series. And I only have one ask, is if you hear something, share something. So share this video out. You just never know who it might speak to. You never know who's on your timeline, what they're going through, and who just needs a positive word kind of infused in them, and that's what this is for. So be blessed, stay well, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a good one.